Hearty welcome to my presentation on structuralism. Myself Dr. Reshmi, working as Assistant Professor in the PG and Research Department of English, MES Asmapi College, Kodingalur, Kerala. And with this presentation, I would like to provide you with an overview of structuralism. We all know that structuralism is a major literary theory, and with this presentation I would like to take you to the origin of structuralism, the various theoreticians and propounders closely associated with structuralism, their contributions to the literary theory called structuralism, and finally the interconnection between language and structuralism. So language is an integral element and part of structuralism, which helps the structuralist thinkers and theoreticians to make it as an activity. So without language, we cannot think about structuralism. So let us examine the different aspects of structuralism in detail. And at the outset, I would begin with the origin of structuralism. So when did structuralism originate? Yes, it originated in France during 1950s as an intellectual movement. This theory called structuralism is definitely, it can be appropriately termed as an intellectual movement, as the structuralist activity is not a simple or an ordinary activity. It involves quiet reasoning and rationality from the part of structuralist thinkers and theoreticians. And the second important connection of structuralism is that it is closely associated with another branch of language, that is linguistics. As we all know that linguistics is a scientific study of language, and here as well in structuralism we consider language as a predominant part of structuralist activity. Language is perceived as a structure. Without structure, without emphasizing the structure of the language, we cannot proceed further with structuralism. So language is perceived as a structure, and further language is considered as a self-referential structure. By self-referential structure, it means that it denies, structuralism denies the references beyond language. You cannot separate language from structuralism, as language becomes the basis of structuralism. So anything other than or beyond the language never comes anywhere within the purview of structuralism. And let us see who are the major propounders of structuralism. Claude Lévi-Strauss. There are several thinkers and philosophers closely associated with structuralism. Some are anthropologists, some are literary critics, theoreticians. So we will see one after the another. Claude Lévi-Strauss, the anthropologist; Gerard Genet, Roman Jacobson, the linguist; and the literary critic Roland Barthes are closely associated with structuralism. And more importantly than these anthropologists, literary critics, thinkers and scholars, we have another Swiss linguist by the name Ferdinand de Saussure, who established the roots of structuralism. And in this sense, we can give a much tribute to Ferdinand de Saussure, because his contribution to the literary theory has originally attributed to an ever-expanding growth of structuralism. And further, the outcomes of structuralism can be said or can be expressed through two important another literary concepts. One is post-structuralism and the other is deconstruction. So structuralism is followed by post-structuralism, and I'm here not going in detail explanation with post-structuralism and deconstruction. I will be sharing my thoughts on post-structuralism and deconstruction in another slide. Yes. So we have seen the origin of structuralism, we have seen the major literary and the theoretical figures associated with structuralism, and now it is time to understand what is the meaning of structuralism. So language is the basis of structuralism. Language becomes the base of structuralism, and as such, the text becomes the basis of structures. So the structuralism as a literary theory, tries to interpret everything in terms of structures. So, as a structuralist or as a beginner of structuralist activity, we must take into consideration the language of the literary text. So it is on the basis of the language we are going to analyze the structures. As we all know that structure is something that constitutes a framework for instance, to a building. Take the structure of the building. Yes, a building is having a clear-cut, definite structure. So whatever we look into, both inside the house or outside the house or in the society, is wherever we go, we have got a well adequate structure. So text becomes the basis of structure in structuralism. And for language, language is considered as a system of signs. What does this sign imply? Sign is nothing other than words. So with the words constitute the sentence in the language, and this language becomes very important. So language is viewed as not as mere language for communication, but language is viewed as a system of signs that expresses the ideas and thereby creates meanings. So the purpose of language is not merely to express certain ideas, but also to create meanings. As such, the construction of meanings in different areas become possible through language, and meanings are attributed to the things by the human mind. So how do we look into an image, or how do we attribute, or how do we assign a meaning to an activity? It is based on the structure. The structure should come first to our mind. So when I use the word apple, or when I use the word tree, for instance, so what comes to your mind? Of course, the word tree, the as well as the mental image of the tree. So it is based on this the word as well as the mental image that you gather the meaning, that how a tree looks like, or what is the meaning of the tree. Yes, so there is sometimes we feel that there is no inherent connection between what we say and what it signifies, or what does it mean. So it is also a part of structuralism. There is no inherent connection between the thing it signifies, and things cannot be understood in isolation. That is another important feature of structuralism. So we cannot understand anything in isolation. So the structure is necessary to understand the meaning, and to put the words into a framework and to derive meanings out of it. The structuralism is seen in the context of the larger structures they are part of.